Well, that's interesting. I just did a green screen and it took it away. So let me see if I can fix this. Isn't that strange? I had just picked the green screen. Okay. Okay, now it's there. How strange. Anyway, what do you want to learn today about finding, organizing, entering, and winning sweepstakes? Um, I think it's just a super fun hobby, and I love it. I can't help myself. I need to win a car. Yeah, so funny enough, I need a new car too. But the problem is, if you come at it with desperation, Monica, I'll answer your question in a minute. If you come at it with desperation, you're never going to win. So Wayne Dyer used to give this talk about how he used to say, when you were desiring something, it was like trying to drink water out of your hands. If you need it so bad and you're going to grip it so tight, like, I need a car, I need a car, I need a car, you can't. It's just going to run out of your hands. You have to cup it gently and then drink. So you have to, you know, wear it like a cloak, as they say. You can't come at it desperately. You also have to live in the end result. So Helene's, oh, do I have her sticker out? No, I don't. So Helene Hadsel used to talk about spec, right? Her big thing was select it. Oh, no, I can't green screen it. I have to hold it in front of my nose for it to work. And then I'm not reversed. But if I reverse, do I? Oh my God, I just disappeared. That's so weird. Spec, select it, project it, expect it, collect it. So select it, you want a car, but you have to be specific. Do you want any old car? You want a brand new car? You want a big car? You want a minivan? You want an SUV? You want a sedan? Focus on what you want and then project it. So you put it out to the universe. So you can write out affirmations, make a vision board, start going for test drives. And then the part that trips most people up is expect it. They have a hard time expecting that they're going to win. She used to meditate to get into the state of expectation. But you can find, I think, some of them online. But someone sent me the original. Oh my gosh, this green screen idea isn't very good. Anyway, they sent the original Jose Silva method. So the Jose Silva method helps you get into that mindset of manifestation, and that really helps. So you can Google it and find some of the meditations, and that's your expect, and then collect it, which is the easy part. So Monica, you wanted to know how to win. So I teach people how to find, organize, enter, and win sweepstakes, contests, and giveaways. Say that 3 times fast. Competitions is in there too, because they use the word competition in the UK and Australia. Go to my website, and if you click on the 5 steps to begin winning, I walk you through it. But basically, some of my big tips are, number 1, always read the rules, because I can't tell you how many times, how easy it is to disqualify yourself. I also run contests for clients. I disqualified someone this week because they didn't read the rules. They weren't eligible to win. So I congratulated them, asked them for their information, realized they weren't eligible. I had to tell them, sorry, you're disqualified. You didn't follow the rules. So always read the rules, my number 1 tip. Then get an email address just for entering sweepstakes. That's what you want to do. You just want to have it separate. And then, so that's number 2. 3, use an aggregate to find legitimate sweepstakes. I do not know if I'm liking this background. It's so strange. I think I'm going to take it off because it's just weird. It's just weird, and I look weird, and I'll figure out how to do the banner another time so people can see what I teach. I know people put up signs behind them, but that's also kind of weird. So 3, you're going to want to use a sweepstakes aggregate. Now, what that means is these are websites that aggregate all the information for various legitimate sweepstakes. They take all the legwork out for you. So they put them all in one spot. And there's dozens of sites of different formats, right? Different formats of all kinds. And some have different features. Some are paid, some are free. I always say start free first. And then once you get really good at it, you probably want to move to a paid site because they have advantages that you can't get from the free ones. But I recommend you get really comfortable with the hobby first before you move to that level. So click on Sweepstakes Aggregates and go check out the different sites and see the different formats. Because some people like this format, some people like that format. You know, like you need to try different things out to see what you like. And then what you want to do is you want to set up a system to track your entries. I like to use RoboForm. That's my favorite one. It just makes it easier. And only enter for what you really want to win. Like right now, I'm so busy, I'm only entering maybe 15 minutes a day. But when I'm entering like a regular hobby, it's 1 to 2 hours a day. And it's not all day. I'm very targeted on what I'm entering. And I'm finding the busier I get, the more picky I am. So if you have any specific questions about sweepstakes, you can ask them. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk sweepstakes in general. And how to win. Yeah, I'm thinking I got to figure out how to do the banner. Because I saw one TikToker talk about putting the banner just there, but I can't seem to get it short enough. I don't know. Maybe I don't have enough followers. Anyway, whatever you want to learn about sweepstakes, I'm your lady. I've written 3 books on it. I'm writing a 4th, and I've already republished Helene Hadsel's books because she was famous for winning every contest she ever entered. So I bought the rights to her works. So here's what I've published. I published the first edition of You Can't Win If You Don't Enter. It was Canadian because I didn't understand how to split the hobby. Then I wrote the American version of You Can't Win If You Don't Enter. And then my life did a bit of a nosedive. So instead of writing another book, it took a huge break. And by then I also understood how the whole hobby works. So I was able to smash. I should mirror my video. I showed Mark how to do this. Okay, there. So then I did a second combined edition. So I smashed them together and did this. So this is from Canada and the US. The book I'm writing now, Prizes Everywhere, is going to be my first global edition. So some stuff is going to be targeted, but there's a lot of global resources in there too. And it's a global hobby, which is totally fun. I love that a lot of countries love to enter. Tell them spec. Yes. So I'll in a second. Now, what website do you use to find the sweepstakes? Okay, so go to my website, contestqueen.com, and then click on resources, and then click on whatever area you're from. You're looking for contest aggregates or sweepstakes aggregates or competition aggregates, and then click on different sites. There's different styles and formats. Some are blog-like, some are forum-like, some are, there's different formats. Some are like lists. So you want to find the format you like, and some are free, some are paid, some are freemium where you get certain things free and then you pay. Some have trials. Poke around and see what you like. And when you're having fun, that's when you're going to win. So that's what I would use. I use contestcanada.net, but that might not apply to you. Depends on where you live. Depends on the website you're going to use. Dee Dee says, show them spec. Select it, project it, expect it, collect it. That's what Helene used to teach. So her books, and I actually just found a different style. Let me grab it because I was very surprised. I didn't even know it existed. So here's what I knew. I knew that Helene had come out with some books. So first she came out with the Name It and Claim It game in 1971. And then in 1988, she came out with a much more robust edition. Like, it's twice as thick. As a whole, so basically the first part of this book is her first book, and then she just basically wrote like a second book and attached it to the first book. Then it went out of print, or so I thought. Now, what I knew is that she was redoing it at home herself and printing them, surloxing them. What I didn't know is that she'd also had some printed up. And I didn't even know these existed. I found them because last week I was at her house. If you go watch on my TikToks, you'll see that I went to her house and collected all the materials that I could use to keep her legacy going, including all the extra copies of the books. Some of them were in poor condition. They were, left in an area that got some damp. But I took them anyway. I cleaned them up best I could because they're originals. So I'm like, you can't replace them. Is this for Canada too? Absolutely. I'm Canadian. Actually, winning sweepstakes. I say sweepstakes because 75% of my followers are Americans. But this hobby is actually global. Super Lucky Die is my counterpart in the UK. One of these days, I'm going to go and hang out with her. It's kind of a bucket list item. The two contest queens hanging out. I love it. This is for Canada too. So we enter contests here in Canada. It's all legal lingo. In the States, they enter sweepstakes. In the UK, they enter competitions. And guess what? It's all the same thing. It just has a different name. It doesn't matter. So yeah, if you go to my website and click on 5 steps to begin winning, it'll lead you through. And then I do show people Canada, US, UK, whatever. I believe it or not, in India, they're crazy for contests in India. It's probably the biggest country in the world for competitions because they have the most people and they are just love it. They love it, love it, love it. I think that's fascinating. Anyway, and then after, and then I had this is my author's copy. It's why I have the line across it. It was my proof from Amazon. I had another one without printing on it, but I don't know where it went right now. Somewhere in this office. It's probably on a shelf back there. But I republished her book. And you see, I made it a little bigger because the printing sizes have changed. Right? Like the standard printing sizes. Like her book is bigger than mine and smaller than this one. And that's the problem because I don't know what size this is. Like whoever cut this book for her, these are not standard book sizes. Because if you go to any publisher, these are standard book sizes, like according to the printers. So I changed her size. Besides, this fits nice in a padded envelope and perfect in the mail. There you go. And that's why all of my books, if you notice, all of my books are this size. They're all exactly the same. Because that way, even if they're thinner, right, and could have been smaller, it's just easier to keep everything the same. So that's why I did that. So if there are any specific sweepstakes questions, otherwise I'm going to talk about different aspects of the hobby and ones that are actually happening right now. The one thing that I'm a little disappointed in, did I put any over here? I put them over here, I think. Yeah, is pin codes. There's currently, it's supposed to be pin code hunting season. And currently, I can't find any sweepstakes. So, for example, monster codes. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little wee code that you practically need a loop to read. This was on the back of a Coke cap. Oh, this is terrible lighting. I can't see that at all. Oh, there's a number in there. I swear there's a number in there. Coke Rewards is now doing some donation things. Canada Dry usually starts next week. I haven't seen anything from them. Pepsi stuff used to start at the beginning of May. Last year, they started, I think, at the beginning or middle of June. So fingers crossed they still do their promotion. I haven't seen anything from Monster. I collected enough pins to get a guitar for my boyfriend. On Canada Dry last year, I won this Sony headset, which is, I love this little Wii headset. Because I have a Samsung, so I don't have AirPods. These things are great. They're noise canceling. I love them. And that was a good win. These were, I think, almost $200. And then I won a hot tub instantly. If you scroll back, like you have to kind of go back a little bit far in my feed, but I think from about September. So yeah, it's been a while. I'll probably do another one in the spring because new people, I have new followers. But I won a hot tub that's out there. It was getting kind of warm today. I was like, maybe it's almost warm enough to go in the hot tub today. In the winter, it's so cold, you just can't leave your towel out there and everything. It's just frozen. So yeah, so isn't that interesting? So those are my big prizes this year so far. I've hardly been entering. I've been super busy. But what I have won is a lot of little prizes, especially from the Tim Hortons contest that they were just running. I didn't even count the points. I only counted the coffees. And I won a trip. That was my big one. And we won some movie passes and we won. Oh, I'm so sad. Like we won. I don't have it around here. I won I went to the Foo Fighter movie, the brand new Foo Fighters movie, and I won their new CD. And then Taylor Hawkins died. And I was like, oh, that was so sad. I haven't even listened to the, CD yet. But yeah, lots of little things. The little things keep you going in between the biggies. Right? I love winning gift cards. I love winning like this old stereo was one of the first prizes I won in 2001. So it's like 21 years old. Love it. And conveniently, it has an old crappy. Well, maybe actually it's good. Maybe the tapes are just old. But I've been listening to the Silva tapes that I got. Someone sent me the Silva method. This is what Helene Hadsel learned from. She learned from Jose himself. She was friends with him for 30 years. And so the lady who sent them to me, I actually put that on my vision board. And a month after I put it on my vision board, someone says, hey, do you want this? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, do you have a tape recorder? I go, yeah, I'm that old. She goes, good, because otherwise I would have sent you the tape recorder. I'm like, no, I'm good. I got the tapes. And actually, I brought a bunch back from Helene's. I got to start going through those boxes in the garage at some point, but I just still need to catch up from my work here because I was doing a little bit of work on the road, just the stuff I was being paid to do from clients, but anything of mine just sat. So I didn't do pretty much nothing. I had pre-scheduled some stuff, but that was it. I didn't really do anything. And then I still had some work sometimes, like, where do you go find contest enter? Google? No. You can. There's people that actually teach you. You could learn. There's key ways to use Google to find sweepstakes, but the easiest way is to use a sweepstakes aggregate. So if you go to my website, I made it a hub of all things contesting. So all you have to do is go to contestqueen.com, click on resources, and then click on your area, and then click on find sweepstakes or find contests or find competitions, and then find the aggregate link. I know it seems like a lot of clicks, but the problem is I have so many different countries of people that I help and teach to win that I had to kind of separate it out in a logical manner. So I can't just, put one on the front. because I have people from all over the world. This is a global hobby, which is totally fun. And then go and enter the different types of aggregates. There's different formats. Some are blog-like, some are lists, some are forums, some are like different formats. So go and poke around and see which format you like. And then I recommend, if you're just starting out, use a free one. And then as you get comfortable in the hobby, then advance to a paid one, because you really need to invest in your hobby. All the big winners pay for subscriptions to either the newsletters. Oh, Tracy, thank you. Number 1 viewer. Yes. So you want to check the different ones out and then get comfortable and then get paid. Like, so for example, I win contests. He doesn't have as many sweepstakes as other websites, but he has the biggest winners. So, but you don't want to start at there because your head would just explode. And there is a learning curve to the hobby, right? There's so many sweepstakes to enter that you could just get overwhelmed. So set up an email address just for entering sweepstakes. Make sure your social media is public. If you don't want to be public for your friends and family, set up a separate social account. So if you see me Contest Queen, you will never see the Contest Queen enter any sweepstakes. I have a personal TikTok, a personal Instagram, a personal Twitter, and a personal Facebook just for entering sweepstakes. That way, I'm not bothered. Like, I'm not bothering everybody. And also, companies don't want to give out prizes to businesses, right? They want to give prizes out to people. So the Contest Queen, as a blogger and a marketer and an author, isn't going to win prizes. But me, Carolyn, when I enter and I'm genuinely entering and having fun with the sponsor, then that's when I win. So I had to separate it. I used to be Contest Queen for a long time, like when I started, and when social media was really new, it was like a Wild West, but now it's kind of matured. So at some point I was like, oh yeah, I need to separate this now that it's kind of, social media has kind of grown up. So that's what I've done. And so if you want to not bug your family, them seeing sweepstakes all the time on your social, or you don't want to tag them, fine, set up accounts just for entering, and do it that way. And always check your notifications. I just ran a sweepstakes for a client. I disqualified like 4 people because they didn't want to respond. And it's like, why are you entering the sweepstakes if you don't want to win? Always check your notifications. Right? Like we have a club meeting tomorrow afternoon if anybody wants to join. If you go to my website and scroll down a bit and see virtual contest club meeting, you can click on it. I just charge $1 for everyone to come because, one, it helps cover my cost because I'm hosting it and I pay for Zoom. So it helps cover the cost of my Zoom every month. But 2, it also helps me keep track of who's coming. So we don't get like 100 people trying to come to this meeting. We like to limit it to 20. So this allows me to keep it to 20 because we want to just all be on one screen and not talking over each other. We want to feel like we're actually a club. I think we only have like 8 people coming tomorrow. So there's plenty of room for a few more if you want to come. And we just basically talk about what we won, what we're having trouble with. Have we seen any of this? Kind of like this, but with 10 people. And we laugh a lot. It's so fun. There's one woman that comes all the time. She's 81. Her name's Beverly, and she's still sweepstakes. I love it. She's been doing it for like 50 years. So she was doing it back when Helene Hadsel was doing it, where they did the mail-in entries and found the entry blanks at the grocery store and all that. Like, oh my God. I just came at the tail end of that. And it was only a few years before they completely dithered out and went online. They had, I remember distinctly the last one I ever found in the liquor store on a bottle of, I don't know, whatever. And I never saw mail-in again. Yeah, it was all online. And then social came. So it basically went from mail-in. So if you watch, I highly recommend The Prize Winner of Defiance, Ohio as a movie or a book. Book's better, but isn't that always the case? So back in those days, it was contest, 25 words or less. So you'd have to finish a jingle. So that's how Helene started out. Her very first contest, she talks about how she came up with a jingle. So this used to be the way it was. So she said, my experiment began when my husband expressed a desire to own an outboard motor since he enjoyed fishing. And he called my attention to a contest sponsored by a soft drink firm. Actually, I think it was Coca-Cola. The prizes were outboard motors. The requirement was to state why you like to take Coke on outings in 25 words or less. So this is how they used to be. And that in the marketing industry is called CGM, Consumer Generated Media. And they're getting back to that. So when you create social posts, that's what you're doing. So her entry was like, I take Cokes. So she sat and she meditated to be from her husband's perspective. So she sat and kind of meditated in it, which is her SPAC method, right? Select it, project it, expect it. So she's projecting it. What am I, if I'm a Coke and I'm my husband, what am I going to say? So she wrote, I take Cokes on outings because I'm a lone wolf fisherman and Coke is my silent partner. It contributes no yakety yak, only cool, refreshing enjoyment when called upon. She says, I came upon this idea when I imagined my husband, so naturally I wrote from his viewpoint. He certainly did like to go fishing by his lonesome. That is until our two boys were old enough to enjoy fishing trips with him. And 3 weeks after the contest closed, the phone rang and a company representative informed us that we had indeed won an outboard motor. So that was back in those days. Then it went from contest to sweepstakes, where you just fill out a sweepstakes blank. And that's what you'd find in the grocery store. And companies did that. Now, people got really mad when the contest went from mail-in to online and now on social, because it's much easier for other people to enter. And they feel like they're not winning as much because it was really like it's expanded. The number of people that enter has expanded, of course, which is what companies want because they're spending money on marketing, and every marketing activity should lead to sales. That's how it's supposed to be, right? So it went from contest to sweepstakes, and that's when you found the entry blanks in the stores, and you'd, fill it in and mail it in and hope you won. So the contests were judged. And if you watch The Prize Winner Defiance Ohio, they give you an example of how things were judged. And then they go from judged giveaways to sweepstakes, and companies like sweepstakes better. Again, it's always a financial decision. I tell people it's nothing against you. They don't actually care about you. It's cheaper to run a sweepstakes than it is a contest because there's no judging. You just have people mail in an entry and then you just draw from a barrel. It's way cheaper. The administrative cost is far less than a judged, and more people are going to enter because people that feel like they can't write a jingle can easily fill out an entry blank. So entries go up, which is what the sponsor wants because they want to be top of mind of the consumer. So they moved to sweepstakes. And after sweepstakes, they were mail-in. It went online because to run an online giveaway is cheaper than a mail-in giveaway, because now they don't have to have the space for all those entries in the mail bags and somebody to manage them, and then you have to keep them for a certain amount of time, and then you have to destroy them in an efficient manner that protects everybody's privacy, right? There used to be huge warehouses of companies, and there was one, I don't remember how many years ago, But I blogged about it because someone sent me an article on how they just shuttered their doors because they were an old mail-in house and they never pivoted to online or the new modern methods of sweepstaking fast enough. They were like a dinosaur in the industry. Guess what? You know, they got shut out. So they ended up going bankrupt and closing. So then it went to mail-in, and then it went to online. And then online started to fractal and split into different. So it was originally, you'd go to a web page and it would basically be the digital form of an entry blank. And now some of them you have to log in. Sometimes you have to play a game. Sometimes you have to sometimes you collect things. Sometimes you have PIN codes, like I was showing you. Sometimes you have on social. Sometimes you have to tag friends. So that's the other reason to make friends in the sweepstakes community, is because then you have friends to tag. If you join some of the paid sites, subscribe. Yeah. You can tag me, Contest Queen, or the Contest Queen. Like if you go to my IG, the Contest Queen. So I was a little slow on the Facebook end of it. So on Facebook and Instagram, I'm the Contest Queen. Because by the time I realized I needed to take my name, it was already taken. So I was the Contest Queen. And on Twitter and TikTok and YouTube, I'm Contest Queen. Oh well. It's still me. And the picture that I have here, I don't know, that little profile image, I go every like spring and I get new headshots because my hairstyle totally changed since the lockdowns, because I use brunette with short sassy hair, and I'm like, I gotta change this. So I waited till it grew out, and then because I grew it out, I'm like, like so many women grew out their color during the pandemic because they're like, this is ridiculous. And I'm like, I need new headshots. And so as my hairstyle has changed, so for 3 years in a row, I've just gone and got new headshots to show the change. Because I didn't want to be, have this picture of me, dark hair, right? And then you come to my page and it's all like Nordic highlights, right? It's just like, no, that doesn't match. So and what's fun is I can change my look. Like my glasses, these are from Dresden Vision. They're from an Australian company. And I have 6 of these frames, and I just pop the lenses in and out. So right now my reading glasses, because I need these for the computer and reading. And these are my distance, like TVs, movies, and the bottom is reading. So I just popped the frames in and out. So today I was feeling like clear. Maybe next week I have pink and green and purple and brown and clear and blue. So whatever I feel like wearing. So I can change my look. It's really nice. And so that's kind of fun. But so yeah, you'll notice that if you go through my videos, you'll see my glasses change color. And they're all the same lenses, and I just pop them in and out. It's kind of cool. But, and I don't win everything. Like I bought these, but I did win the jacket from an Instagram. Like this sweater I won from an Instagram contest. My Fitbit I won last year from a Cheerios giveaway. But this phone that I'm doing this live streaming on, I just upgraded. I don't win everything. My mug was a gift. But that radio I won. So that's the thing. People think, sorry, hold on. Where am I can I mute this thing? No, I think it might be here. I'm just gonna do this. I drank something the wrong way. Also talking for half an hour. So people, there's a myth that sweepstakers have this room full of prizes. It took me, I hadn't won a TV until last year. And then they gave me the option of the TV or the money. And my boyfriend's like, we don't really need a TV. And your goal this year is to get out of debt. So take the money. So I took the money. I was such a good person and responsible adult, and I took the money. But I had never won a TV up until that point. And then, I've won 20 trips now, but I know people that have won a lot more trips. They're my favorite thing to win, I think. That's the other reason I don't have a room oh, hey, Jen. Yeah, cash option. It's not often you get it, and a lot of times you can't transfer prizes. Like I was given the cash option, actually, a slightly lower cash option. So I won one of the booking.com trips from the Super Bowl, and because I'm known in the industry for my marketing, but I'm not working for them so I can win, is I knew the principal, and he messaged me and he goes, "Oh my God, you won one of the trips. Congratulations." I said, "Thanks." He said, "Do you want the cash option?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I told him the story. I said, "Look, I really wanted to win the trip, and here's why." I did a video on this, but so I'll do the longer version. In January, I take Colette Baron-Reid's vision board class every year, and I highly recommend it. Go look her up. Now, her vision board class is not on Facebook currently, because what she does is she runs it for a week, and you have like 8 days to watch it. I think she leaves it up usually for one extra day, and then she closes it off and she takes it all off Facebook, and they put it in her group. I mean, that's a benefit of membership, right? Then you have unlimited access to it. So she does this vision board class, and she does vision boarding in a way I've never seen anybody do. And last year I manifested some of the things, but this year I don't know what shifted, or I was more focused on it, but stuff started manifesting right away. So her class was like the middle of January or the second week of January. And I took my time doing this board. I really wanted to be sure. And I've got some videos on the vision board, and I think even some pictures on my Instagram. And she puts a board around it, and I do it in the feng shui. So I have the money in the wealth corner, and the career and the fame So I had put 2 chairs on a beach. I love that, romantic beach vacation. Well, a week later, we had a snowstorm here, like bad snowstorm, and we have a long driveway. It took my boyfriend, George, and the neighbor with the snowblower, and I even went out for an hour, but I'm like, I got to work. 5 hours to clean the driveway. Like, it was so much snow. After that, he's like, I'm done. I'm really done. I need to go south. So we just booked a trip, and then we went a couple of weeks later. We were in the Dominican Republic on vacation, and I'm like, wow, that was fast. Have you to pay any taxes on prizes? Yes and no, and I'll explain that in a second. So we ended up in the Caribbean. I'll segue to the prizes. So you have to read the rules. Americans, if it's over $600, Americans, you will get a form 1099 miscellaneous. If it's over $600, depending on what the prize is, you can negotiate the value of the 1099 down. So for example, if you won a TV that was $1,500, but you saw it at Best Buy on sale for $900, you could argue that it's really only worth $900, for example, or $1,000. So then you'd pay less tax. If you won movie passes from your local radio station to the movies, you won't get a 1099 on that. You just go to the movies. sometimes you're asked to pay the taxes on prizes. So for example, a lot of the radio stations in the area where I live, if they're giving away trips, right up front on the trip thing, it says, we're giving you the trip, but you are responsible for the HST, which is harmonized. You're responsible basically for the sales tax and the airport tax and I think departure tax. So it comes to like this much money. But where else are you going to get a trip that cheap? Because if you bought a trip, you'd still have to pay those taxes. So sometimes you have to pay the taxes and they tell you that up front. And then other times you have to pay extra. So for the trip that I won, if I spend more than the value of the gift certificate, I'm responsible for that. So if I have $5,000 trip, but I spend $5,500, I have to pay the $500 difference. That's fine. I'm aware of that and I'm happy to pay it. So you have to judge it. That's why a lot of people do like cash options on prizes, Tracy, because of the income tax on winnings. But a lot of people write things off. So for example, they keep all their receipts for stamps, for their internet, for their anything you can write off against the winnings. A good accountant will show you how to do that. That's actually how Tom Cavalli got started with I Win contests. He was winning so much that he needed something to write off against his taxes. So he started the newsletter to lose money. And now he does it full time. So that I don't know if it backfired or not. Right. Oh, hey, Mark. So maybe one of these days, Mark, you can come to our club meeting. We're having another one tomorrow. I know Mark, I found him on TikTok and he likes dinner. He has won my bucket list item. He has won a car from M&M's. Oh my God. I can't imagine. Right. Oh, lucky ducky. I'll win a car one day. It's just not today. Because it's after 5. Nobody's going to call me after 5. Tell me I won a car. But yeah, it's a really fun hobby. So back to the trip story. So we're in the Caribbean. And I think part of the manifestation was I was already in the environment. Because a lot of the manifestation teachers will tell you, you have to, especially Dr. Joseph Murphy, for the subconscious. You live in the end result. It's really easy to live in the end result of a vacation when you're on vacation. So we're walking along the beach. So I have all the stimulus, right? I've got the salt water and the sand and the sun and the palm trees and the smell of the suntan lotion and the whole 9 yards. And I said to George, I really want to take Laura and Jeff, my sister and her husband, on a vacation because when I turned 50, she took me on vacation to celebrate my 50th. And in my head, I'm like, okay, great. When she turns 50, I'll take her away. 2 years later, in 2019, we went on a trip. We won. Then we went to a destination wedding and then she got married. So there was no time or money for that trip. So I'm like, okay, next year. Well, next year, we all know what happened. The lockdowns started. So she got married. They didn't even get a chance to go on a honeymoon because they were going to do it the following year because they spent money on the wedding. And then they thought, okay, well, a year and we'll go like first anniversary or something. Well, that never happened. So I never took her away for her 50th. They never got a honeymoon. And then at that point, by the time they got married, I didn't have any fun. I didn't even buy them a wedding present. I felt so terrible. So I said to George, let's take them away on this honeymoon they never had. And then that'll be like everything. That'll take care of all those things. And in my brain, and I can't believe I do this because I teach this. In my brain, I'm thinking, okay, I need to finish my next book. I need to sell a ton of them. I need to pay off my bills. I need to save money. I need to pay for this vacation. Stop worrying about the how. I can't believe I even do it to myself, because we're in such a habit. It's such a habit to think, oh, I need to do this. No. What do you want? Just focus on what you want. Don't worry about the how. A week later, after we come back, the Super Bowl was occurring, and there was a ton of contests for Americans, but one open to Canadians. And I'm like, and it was the booking.com one, and they were giving away 100 trips. And I'm like, I'm winning one of those trips. So I got George, we have one of those little internet boxes. I said, find me the American Super Bowl, not the Canadian one. I want all the American commercials. And so the contest was, you had to take a picture during a commercial and then share it to booking.com on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram with a certain tag and a certain hashtag and say something about it. I sat there for 4 hours. Like every time commercials were on, I was like taking pictures with my phone, click, 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 click. And then while the football players were playing, I was entering each one. And then by the time I'd done all that, the commercials were back on. So I was like snapping more. I did that for 4 solid hours. I barely had a chance to eat my pizza. And then you could enter till midnight, but now it was like 10:30 and they're doing all the, the rah. I can't even remember who won. I was just so focused on the contest. Anyway, and actually my friend Tom, his buddy won, and he was the +1. So they got to go to the Super Bowl. He's won a trip to the Super Bowl before, but he got to go. If you go to iwincontest.com on Facebook and scroll back to February, you'll see his pictures that he posted. It's amazing. So he's on the field while like all the halftime shows were singing. And I'm like, that's just freak. Where can you see? This is the other thing I like about the hobby. You can win prizes that money cannot buy. My ex, I call him my husband, he got to be a judge in the Miss Hawaiian Tropics Bikini pageant. When's that going to happen? Never. We got to meet, lots of people. I got to meet Sting. We met some famous Canadians like Sarah Harmer. I won one time. Oh my God. I won one time to go meet and greet Sarah McLachlan, which was his, he just loved her. And then we had something booked that weekend. So between entering and winning, we had booked something. And I mean, I never count on prizes. I just live my life. So we ended up booking away, and then we couldn't go see her. But back to the trip. So I said, I'm going to win one of these trips. So I'm doing all this. And then by 10:30, he's like, you got to stop. And I'm like, oh, he's like, it's finished. I'm like, but I can enter till midnight. He's like, you're done. I'm like, ugh, all right. I thought, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. So I go to bed, and I forgot the rules. They were doing the draws on Monday. So Monday comes and goes. I didn't win anything. I was like, oh, I guess I didn't win. I was wrong. Tuesday morning, I guess I should know better. I'm a marketer. I got to draw and verify and then notify 100 people. It takes a bit of time, right? So Tuesday, I get a message saying, hey, check your DMs. And I'm like, oh my God, I won a trip. So I was lying in bed. I had my undies on. I came out to the living room and I'm just giggling. George looks at me sitting there with his coffee and I go, I won one of the trips. And he's like, he just shakes his head at me. And I'm like, see, I didn't even have to do anything. I just manifested this trip that I wanted to take my sister on. So then I call my sister and I messaged her. I'm like, call me as soon as you can. And I'm like, I want us a trip. And she's like, what? So we're currently, because we can go anywhere, we're just looking at resorts now. We had some time. We had to wait to make sure all our passports and everything were good because of the pandemic. And she'd got married, so her documentation had changed. So she just went to Boston for work. So she said, well, let me go and make sure it works. And then once I know it works, we'll book a trip. So we now know it all works. So we had 90 days. So we did March and April, and now it's like half May. So I'm like, okay, we got till June. Let's book it. So we're going to pick something. She's going to look at some stuff, and probably next week we'll book it. So I'm very excited. So we were talking Mexico, but we might go to the Dominican. It's a nice thing about it. We can pick wherever we want to go. And so I'm very excited. So the 4 of us are going to have a vacation at the end of October, early November. I have to be back, though, because I have a client that booked a workshop from the 10th and the 13th. So I either need to be there or be available to do the live stream part of it. So that's the nice thing about working for yourself. You can pretty much work from everywhere, but some things, it's going to be an all-day thing. I really do not want to be sitting in a hotel room having to work this event. So even though I could technically work from anywhere, I'm not going to do that. Right, Jen? I mean, how fun. But you got to remember, stop worrying about the how. I still haven't sold a single book. And now I have to get a new, I'm in the process of getting a new car. So I'm not, but I didn't need to worry about that. The end result was I wanted a honeymoon and I wanted to go the 4 of us away on vacation. I got that. Stop worrying about the money. Oh, you bought a car, I assume, or the trip. Right? But it's okay. Like, that's the other thing. You can always say the perfect car for me is coming. The perfect price, the perfect car, exactly what I need right now. Everything's going to work out. People are saying, oh, there's low inventory on cars. I'm like, that doesn't matter. My circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. And, yeah. So just, it's coming. I'm just waiting for some ducks in a row, the finance part of it. And, I meant your book. You bought it. Yay. Yeah, I have 3 ones. And then actually, if you got this one, the next one, I'm making it about 70% different so that people that did have this will still be happy with the next one, that there'll be enough different and updated. So all new stories, new resources, updated resources, new attracting luck section, and some of the stuff I'm taking out of the book, like I'll show you an example. Of course, you can't find one right when you want it, right? But one of the things that changed rapidly that I decided to take out. So, for example, here's a list of all the contest clubs, right? Like pages of them, like pages and pages of the contest clubs. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. They change. And then nobody wants to read a list. Nobody's interested in reading a list in the book. They want to know the details of what to do. So I've started moving things like the lists onto my website, because that way if they change, I can instantly change them. And I can add one. Boom, it's there. It's not out of print the minute I print it. So stuff like that I moved to the website. It's going to make the book 3 pages smaller, for example, but do you really need to read a list of clubs? No. So I talk about the clubs. I talk about all that stuff is still in there. The stories about the clubs, the history, what a clubs is like, what meetings are like, all that stuff is still there. That's the important part. And then, hey, if you want to find a club in your area, go here. If you're on a Kindle or a Kobo or something, you can click the link and it'll take you there. Or I made the URLs pretty simple. Like I did all bit.ly links, and then you can just go and it'll take you to that page on my website. Much easier for the next one, I think. More updated, right? And Tracy, I don't know if you were here for it, but we're having a virtual contest club meeting tomorrow. I don't even know what day it is. I spent 10 days driving from... Oh, is the Name It and Claim It game your most recent release? Can we pre-order one? Okay, so my release, okay, so here's how I divide them. So I wrote 2 editions, If You Can't Win If You Don't Enter, and then How to Win Cash Cars, Trips, and More is my latest book. Helene's latest book is, her sweepstakes book is the Name It and Claim It game. Oh my God, did I just lose it? Oh, here it is. The Name It and Claim It game. So basically, this is a sweepstakes book with a little bit of law of attraction in it. And this is a law of attraction book with a little bit of sweepstakes in it. And no, I don't put the pre-order on the one I'm working on, and I'll tell you why. Amazon has very strict guidelines on pre-orders, and I'm so far behind, I don't want to just do that. And in the past, I did pre-orders where you could order for me from like $20 and I would include shipping and I would sign it and I'd get printed copies. I haven't done that yet because the border's been shut and I usually mail the US ones from the US because they have a media rate. So if I mail a book from here, it's like almost $12, but I can mail it in the States for $4, less than $4 actually. So I can't afford to spend, say 100 copies, right? So say I can't afford, $1,100 in postage for 100 copies. Like that's mental. Like it's just mental. So I haven't done the pre-orders because of that. But now that I'm back from Helene's in Texas and I've gotten my desk almost organized, I can almost see it. And I've almost finished my accounting. I know I'm way behind. For my business, I should be done everything this weekend. Then I'm going to be back to writing again. So that's why I didn't do that. So if you have any specific sweepstakes questions, I'll answer them. But yeah, you can win. So I haven't won a lot this year, but the big one's the trip. So I kind of don't care. And I've been busy doing other things, like going down to Helene Hadsel's. Oh my God, that was crazy fun and super tiring, because I was driving all day and I was getting places. I did more night driving than I wanted. I was all by myself. People are like, you drove to Texas by yourself and back? And I'm like, yeah. But here's a treasure that I found. I haven't showed anybody yet. I found 6 copies. I might find more. But I showed you one of these earlier, but look, this is what's different about this one. Oh my God, it's autographed. I have 6 of them. These are like gold. It says, continued success in all your ventures. Sincerely, Helene Hadsel. Wait, this one says completely revised and updated in 2010. She died in 2010, so she updated this book in 2010. I did get the, yeah, oh my God, right, Tracy? Yeah, I have lots of stuff. I found some geodes. I have her crystal ball here. I'll show it to you. This is so cool. There's no stand for it. So I had this candle holder. That was a crown. I thought it was appropriate. And I had a handkerchief from a senior gentleman that we were friends with who passed away. So I put it in there. But that's her crystal ball. So if you read any of her other stories, like In Contact with Other Realms, and she talks about the crystal ball, this is it. This is the crystal ball she had. And I haven't worked with it yet. I don't feel like I'm ready. I mean, how cool is this, right? So, and then there was an original painting she had. This one that she did on the cover. And I originally said, well, I changed the cover. And I said, if I find the original painting, I'll redo the cover. So Dyke, her son, the only person left, besides her grandchildren, is, I said, hey, did you ever find the painting? So he's like, I haven't seen it in years. So he messages me back and goes, oh, I know what happened to it. I'm like, what? He goes, she painted over it. No. So there's a picture at the back of her conference center. It's a huge angel that she put Christmas lights on, so you can plug it in and she glows. It's kind of cool, actually. And it glows. I should have taken it, but I didn't have any room in the car now that I think about it. But but that was the original one. I'm like, no, but he found a second one. She did a second one. I brought that home. So I have it. And I'm like, George, but she had glued it to particle board and it was like getting wrecked. I'm like, oh, so I pried it off and she painted it on like plywood, thin plywood. So I said to George, you got to like laminate the back or something and then make a frame for it so I can hang it proper. He's like, doesn't even look like she finished because there's some parts. I'm like, well, maybe she didn't, but that's Helene. So I've got to get him to frame it. So I have it. And then I think I believe the woman that does my headshots also does product shots. So I think I'm going to get her to do some professional imagery of it so that I could use it for, for covers and stuff. Like I need something super high end. I don't have the camera or the lighting. I wouldn't want to use like my phone or my DSLR camera. I don't have the lighting set up. I don't know how to place things. I don't know how to avoid reflection. Like she's professional. I'd rather pay somebody to do it. Sometimes it's worth the money to pay a professional to do the job, right? So what else? Yeah, so that was my crazy week. And if you go back in TikTok, I did a few TikToks with people. I went live with Sean SVV, and I went live with Mark, the recalculator. He is so fun. I met him and his wife, and we had lunch, and then we went live, and then he had some problems, and so then we ended up stopping it, and we were talking, and it was amazing. It was like finding an old friend. I'm working on getting him to be on with the Contest Queen. So that's going to be fun. Oh my gosh, it's past 9. I got to go soon because I have a client that's doing a live stream at 9:30. I know. It's like it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. The joys of being self-employed. So yeah. So that's my excitement as I went to Helene Hadsel House. And so I do live streams. I'm doing another one next Friday. The time actually works good for me because I go live and then my client Robert goes live. So if you want to check him out, he'll be on Facebook and YouTube. And he has some other ones. And so he goes live at 9:30. So I do it from like till 9. And then I can always have a little bit of overage. And then it gives me time to like switch gears because I do his marketing, customer service. So I have to be on point for that. And then I monitor the chats in the Facebook and YouTube. Even though you can't really moderate YouTube, I can just kind of keep my eye on it and like that. So yeah, it's fun. So I'm going to do one next Friday before his live too, because he's running a course on mace.com. It's very exciting. Thanks Tracy. You should look at coming to the club meeting tomorrow. It's at 1:00 Eastern time. And then the following one, I just did the newsletter for Sunday. I always like to write it in advance. The next one is May 11th. It's a Wednesday at 7:30. I don't know what time zone you're in, but I try to do some on the weekends for people that can't come during the week. Like we have one lady, she can never come on a weeknight. Like her life is just not going to do that. So I try and make every like second or third one on a weekend so that people, and then sometimes I switch from Saturday to Sunday. Same as you. Oh, you're in London. I have peeps out your way. I just passed you twice in the last week. Because I went via Detroit. I went down Detroit and then it's kind of on an angle. So I ended up through Michigan, Ohio, Indiana. I think I dipped into Illinois. And then I think it went to Missouri. And then I dipped into Tennessee because I wanted to go get barbecue. So I dipped into Memphis and then I went to Arkansas. And then I went down through Texas. It was a long drive. I listened to a lot of books on Audible. Yeah, that's actually a good use of time too. Yeah, it is a lot. So for London, my sweepstakes website of choice is not contestcanada.net. But some people prefer Contest Girl, and some people prefer Red Flag Deals. And then there's Yo Winner. That's actually Yo Winner's Canada and US. And so is Contest Girl. And then I think those are the big ones for Canada. Some of the other ones, people retired or they closed. And then in the US, the big ones are like Sweep Sheet, Sweepstakes Advantage, Sweeping America, I Win Contest, Sweepstakes Fanatics, Sweepstakes Bible. There's a lot of them in the States. So I think that's it. So I'm going to wrap it up because I gotta switch gears, and I'll talk to you later. Yeah, that's a big cup. Oh, it was a Christmas. Like, how pretty is that? It looks like birch bark. It was a Christmas gift. It's wooden on the bottom, so I have to hand wash it, and it's got a nice thermal lid so it doesn't get cold while I talk. I have the best friends. This was a Christmas present. They know me. So, anyway, yeah, see, I don't win everything. Some things are gifted. There's supposed to be 5 forms of abundance, and people don't look at all of them. 1 is money, of course. That's the one everybody likes to look at. But 2 are gifts, and 3 is trade, and 4 is synchronicities, and 5 is inspiration. And we need to look at all forms of abundance. We need to realize we're abundant in a lot of ways, not just money. That's not the only form of abundance. Okay, so yeah, and I think that's it. Sign up for my newsletter because it's coming out on Monday and Sunday, and it's chock full of stuff. I do it every 2 weeks. I do it, twice a month. I do it on the 1st and the 15th, unless I have a client giveaway, and then usually I do an exclusive email for the client because, I'm being paid too. And that's how I eat. Besides your book, what book do you recommend for abundance? Well, there's lots of different ones. I really like Michael Loget's The Law of Attraction. I like his because it's very how-to. A lot of people like the Abraham Hicks books. I'm waffly on them. I really like what she has to say, but I feel like there's a bit of shame inside some of the vibrational stuff. Because the only thing I don't like about it is I feel like they blame you if you don't attract in what you want in life. And what they don't take into account is that you have a soul contract and you're here to fulfill certain things. And the universe might not give you what you're asking for right now because it's going to send you off on the wrong tangent. So you're better off learning the lesson and then getting it later. So that one's kind of like this. The book that changed my life, which might make a difference for you, I'm really biased because I love him to death, is Robert Ohado. That's who's doing that live stream at 9:30. He wrote Transforming Fate into Destiny. It's not an abundance book, but it will change your... I want to say it changes your soul because your soul won't change. It'll change your whole mindset. That's what it did for me. It was like light bulbs. A lot of people like Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza. Right now, I'm doing the Silva method, which teaches you to change your self-mastery, which when you change your mindset, you bring about abundance. Oops. So there's lots. I would start with Michael Loget's The Law of Attraction, but I've been reading books. Like my dad handed me one of those books. I don't know even which one when I was 18. And he said, if I can teach you at 18 when I learned at 36, you'll be way ahead of me. So I've read like so many books. It was like Helene's house. She had like this huge library. I have all my books in storage because I don't have a library in this house. And I've been saying one day I'm going to have a library. One day I'm going to have a library and I'm going to have all those books out. So one day. Robert's talk tonight is on I just saw it. I shut my computer off because I don't like the glow. I believe it's on self-parenting. He did one last week on archetypes. And he's done one. He does them. Lately he's been doing them every Friday. He's been really good. Let me just look here. I can't remember. Tonight it is on. Oh, come on. Why isn't it coming up? Oh, the inner child archetype, exploring the why of your self-abandonment. I know, deep stuff, right? But the week before he did, and you can watch these all on YouTube or Facebook. The week before was The Power of Archetypes, exploring your soul contract with fate and destiny. Exactly what I just talked about. Then the week before that was mystical forgiveness versus mental forgiveness. Why you're blocked from releasing the past through true forgiveness. The week before that was it was on the Ukraine, being the light when the world goes dark. And then he did a whole one on just the social Q&A. And then he did one on, and then he's done them on like, so if you go to his YouTube, he's got a lot of videos. He actually has more, like he did one at Christmas time on the holiday survival strategies for empathic souls. Yeah, he's deep stuff. I just love him. I found him in 2011 while I was going through my divorce and miserable every day. And his book just changed my life. And I listened to all his podcasts. If you Google, you can find some of his podcasts still. And then, of course, he has videos on YouTube, but he has more on Facebook. So if you go to his Facebook video thing and scroll back, you can watch. There's tons of videos. So now that I only have 15 minutes to get ready, I'm going to say go and gave my client a huge plug for his free stuff, which changed my life, right? Like I wouldn't be, honestly, I feel like I wouldn't be who I am today without him and his teachings, because they just completely rewired me. So I just have him to thank for that. And then I get to work for him. I think the universe has a sense of humor. And so, so now I get to work with him. So I set up a new business. He told me I paid for a reading after my divorce. He doesn't do consultations anymore, but I paid for that. And he said to me, you need to set up a new business. Being the contest queen isn't all you're ever going to do or be. And that's the other reason I'm now doing the Helene stuff. I think it's part of my, future path. And he said to me, you have to, contest queen is great, but she's not the whole mountain. You're going to evolve. And my little brain goes, okay, that means I'm going to have another business. I better set up another business. So I went and set up a whole new business. I came out with Idea Majesty. I started a TikTok account, but I just can't keep up with two of everything. It's so hard. I need to win the lottery and then hire an assistant to help me or something. I don't know. And then, so I have Idea Majesty, and that does all the marketing. And then so I set up this business and I did nothing with it. I'm like, okay, the universe is going to set me up that. And then I just waited. And then he was my first client. And I said, yeah, the universe has a sense of humor. So now I use that one for, and now I use Idea Majesty. That's all my marketing. So if I run a sweepstakes, I run it under Idea Majesty, like my business part of it. And I promote it on Contest Queen because that's the promotion platform. But All the business is done. So if you want to see my sweepstakes marketing services, they're not on Contest Queen. You go to a whole different website. So that's what I do. Anyway, I'll say goodnight, and maybe I'll see you in the chat on Robert Ohato's Facebook or YouTube channel. Bye until next Friday here on TikTok, but I will be posting TikToks, and I have a newsletter coming out, and I have some blog posts that I'm doing this weekend. So there's lots of stuff. I don't just do it on this platform. I try and do different things everywhere, because that way people can learn in different formats. So, and this hobby is vast. I mean, my last book was over 200 pages. Plus I've been blogging since 2008. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. And I haven't run out of things to say yet or teach. So there you go. Bye.